Hey everybody, how you doing? It's your Uncle Steve here on a Sunday chill here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Let's talk about it. Friday, impressive preseason win. Will this compel those folks on the fence to come to a game this year in Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Let's talk about it with your Unc. What is going on, everybody, in Uncle Steve's Lounge? Thank you so much for joining us today for the Sunday Chill. Welcome to all my brothers and sisters out in Atlanta Bird Game Land as well, joining us today on August 13th. Hope everyone had a great weekend so far. Definitely got a little steamy last couple of days. Hope everyone is safe too. Some tricky weather out there going on. So, y'all be careful out there. A lot of things falling. Don't like that, but take care of yourself and all of that good stuff. Had a great day today. Got a chance to go to church today, and as always, not that I don't, and enjoyed myself. Came back, and of course, when I get to church, what does everyone want to talk to me about? Oh, Steve, man, those Falcons, they look great, man. Man, I saw those Falcons, which it makes me feel good because I'm not going to lie to you. There have been some preseasons past that I don't get that same vibe. I know we won last year's first preseason game by the skin of our teeth at the last second, but there was still something different because of how the defense played. So there was a different vibe going on with that. And that's what I want to talk to everybody about. Not so much specifically all the players and stuff that play, because this is let's keep it real. Probably 75% of the people that were out there, you're probably not even going to see on the roster this year. But what I do like is what the coaching is. The coaching that I saw out there with these folks that are probably going to be backing up our starters this year. Just the relentless, just vibe as far as coming at Miami and bringing them all they can handle, being able to have those red zone stops like they did. Things that, while in a first preseason game, you're not sitting here trying to say, hey, you know what? We went from 29th in defense to the Chicago Bears of 1985. I'm not saying that. But there are some habits that are started in practice, in training camp, and now in the first preseason game that you say, oh, wow, if that's the type of stuff that we're doing, and I'm sure it was pretty vanilla, but if that's the kind of stuff we're doing, I've got to be excited about what I see from some of these, some of the veterans when they get get a chance to go in there. And it sounds like we're going to see a lot more of them next week. If you're just coming in, thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, like the video, like the stream. If you've enjoyed me in the past, enjoyed some of the content we've had in here, push that little thumbs up button and tell me that you like what's going on. And then we can get this thing out to everybody else, especially before the season starts, because now is the time to get the word out about what we're doing here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. And that is supporting our Atlanta Falcons. I have my attention slightly divided because it's nothing like seeing the New Orleans Saints attempt to lose a game, but they just got an interception, as I just talked. So just when you thought the world was going perfectly this weekend. Anyway, let's get to the folks here, and then we're going to get to the questions of the day. Let's get everybody in here. We got John Brooks, always up in the top 3 coming into the stream. What's going on? Go Falcons. False starts in the house as usual. What's going on, my brother? 3 dirties in here, Unc. What's up? How you feeling? I am feeling great, and I am feeling blessed, my brother. Good to see you. Marina Lopez is in the house. What is going on, man? Say 3rd string Dirty Birds looking real good. I can't wait to see what the starters do. That makes 2 of us. I'm sure that makes a whole Falcon Nation that can't wait to see what's going on. Dondre in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the house. Say, Uncle Steve, after the first preseason game, what position are you most excited to see? Position I'm excited to see. I'm still, even what I saw this past Friday, I still want to see more and more of what this defense is going to do. The defensive line, to be more exact. I know a lot of people are concerned about what's going on in the linebacker core. I am too. But just to see these pushes coming up, and I'm going to tell you what, man, Brother Harrison from Ohio State, man, I saw him like 2 times. One of the times they ran the play away from where he was going, but like 2 times just knifed through the line with some quickness on a defensive line that I hadn't seen before. There was a part of me, I was sitting there watching the game with my brothers, Tidy and Mark from Atlanta Bird Gang, and y'all make sure y'all check them out in Atlanta Bird Gang YouTube channel. But we were checking that out, and I was saying to myself, I was like, man, that dude is fast. Put him in some bubble wrap and just save him for the first game, man, because I'm excited to see what he has. But Brother Frank is in the house. What's up, man? Say, listening to the show. We'll be doing my 6-mile ruck. Oh, my good 6-mile ruck. Smart. Oh, yeah, brother. Been there, done that. I remember, we had to do one. We had to do one in Germany one time. And I don't know if you've been to Baumholder before in Germany, but Baumholder is nothing but a big hill. And I remember we did a 10-mile one time that, yeah, just thinking about it right now is making my muscles hurt. So good luck with that, brother. Be safe out there. Hydrate. David Starks in the house. What's going on, Dave? How you doing, my brother? Good to see you here. Mark, speaking of Mark, and what's going on, Mark? Y'all make sure y'all check Mark and Tidy out on Atlanta Bird Gang, always putting up some good content up there. They made their debut on the Bleacher Report app after the game this past Friday. So if you don't have the Bleacher Report, make sure y'all check that out so y'all can see some of the brothers in there representing. We appreciate y'all, man. JJ the Great, what is up, man? How you doing? My brother Winston's in the house, the man with the knowledge all the time. What's up? Dondre says, shout out to the Braves for whooping. Yeah, Braves have been on a roll, man. And as great as the Braves have been, there are times that I just almost say, man, but you know what? Save it up a little bit. And I love what they're doing, but boy, it is nothing like seeing a team dominate all year and then get to like the playoffs, and then all of a sudden the flame gets extinguished like it did last year. Atlanta ran down and won 100+ games, and then when they got to the first series, I think they were tired and peed out. So, See how that goes. Lisa, how you doing? Lisa spent time down there in Miami. Got a chance to enjoy. I saw a lot of pictures on Atlanta Bird game, and I hope you had a great time down there. I know you enjoyed holding Miami to a field goal as far as defensively concerned. And listen, and I'm going to say something about that in a few minutes, but Lisa always does a great job of that. Y'all check Lisa out on Blog and Dirty as well. She writes articles for them. Please make sure you check her work out on that side. David said, loved our scheme, aggressiveness, and rally to the ball. Nielsen's message is getting through top to bottom. Excited to see what the starters will do next week. That is crazy because I absolutely mirror everything you just said. Terry Ward's in the house. What is going on, Terry? Good to see you. Facebook users here said, what's up, Unc? Loved team game one. Offense can't really grade appropriately, but defense will definitely be improved. Those red zone stops. And for those that say it's just preseason, and I know there's a tendency for pessimistic folks to do that. And at times, yeah, I'm one of those folks. But you know the difference is this year is you can feel a lot of people, especially a lot of my Atlanta content creator friends who had a chance to go out there. I got the chance to go to the OTAs. They've gotten the chance to go to training camps. And a lot of people have said about that difference. You know, it's not a difference that you can put on paper. It's not a difference that you can take a picture of and say, but there's just a feel around, you know, Flowery Branch, a feel around the OTAs, a feel around what just happened in the preseason game. Just a different vibe this year. I don't know if that's the influx of the defensive coaches. I don't know if that's the influx of veteran presence to be able to do more, help do a lot more assisting with the young guys to bring them along. I don't know if it has anything to do with that at all, but I know it's different. So for those who say it's just preseason, don't get what, yeah, right, man. I'll take any W you can, especially a dominating W. JJ's in the house. Happy Sunday, Unc, and the rest of the gang. Yes, sir. D. Sloan is here. Say, what's up, Unc? This season is going to be a treat. And yes, it's worth buying a ticket. Week 5, I'll be there versus the Texans. And I'm going to get to that right now since we stopped. And I'm going to come right back to I'm coming back to the chat, y'all. Y'all know I can't ignore my chat. 2 questions on today. First question. Did Friday's preseason win convince you to buy a ticket for the Falcons season opener against the Panthers? Now, the average fan, I already know the answer. Of course, you're already there. You probably already bought your ticket. You probably already have a tailgate spot. You probably know what you're going to be doing after the game. I mean, if you're already in this, I'm probably not talking to you. I'm talking to that person on the fence. I'm talking to that person that's like, yeah, the Falcons, whatever. I'm talking to that Hawks fan who doesn't have anything to do this year, who you know, waiting for the NBA to start back up and just happens to casually be watching the game. I'm talking to that Atlanta Braves fan. You got to be bored right now because you're beating the junk out of everybody else in the league. So, you know, devote a little bit of time to your other hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons. Did a showing like Friday, yes, even with backups, was that something compelling enough for you to say, you know what? That vibe was in Miami. I could only imagine what that's going to be like here in the Benz. So will you take time to invest in this team based upon results that you saw from Friday night? That's who I want to hear from. I really want to hear from those who aren't there all the time. Don't get me wrong. I want to hear from everyone. But the specific question, I want to hear from those who kind of straddle the fence about buying the tickets. It's a moot point with season ticket holders. It's a moot point with those guys who I know, guys and gals who run through the wall for the Falcons. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those people who have to make a decision on whether to buy a ticket. And speaking of the bins and speaking of buying ticket, that goes to our Sunday chill question for the day. Of course, if you live here in the Atlanta area, you might have been on NyQuil or something not to know that Beyonce has invaded the Mercedes-Benz Stadium this weekend. And I think she's all the way here through Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not sure exactly what day, but she's here all this week. And we just had Taylor Swift a few weeks ago, and she was here, and all the Swifties and all the beehives have been taking over Atlanta as far as the concert scene is concerned at the Benz. My question to you is, for those of you who partake in concerts and things like that, in addition to our Falcons question, what artists, past or present, would you pay top dollar to see in concert? And the reason I say top dollar, because I've heard all these sad stories about the kids who, somebody last week, they bought a ticket, which was crazy to me, because I was saying to myself, I wouldn't even want to be on TV telling this story. Like, one guy brought his daughters all the way down from North Carolina and whatever. He bought the ticket, came on Friday, and turned out the ticket was for another day or something like that. Where he bought the ticket, it was a legit ticket, but he was a day late. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Dad, not trying to be funny, man. You might have to take the hit for, I don't want to say that, but if you go buy the ticket, you better read the fine print and see what you bought. But they were on TV trying to sing this sad sob story about, we drove all the way and we're a day late. But he was able to get another ticket next day, so it didn't end all that bad. So anyway, what artist, past or present, would you pay top dollar to see in concert? I know people are paying top dollar to see Beyonce. I know they were paying top dollar to see Taylor Swift. So what artist would you pay to see right now at this time? So let's get back into the chat. Let's go back down here. And I'm sorry, y'all, I lost my place. Here we go. False Start said, very good to see the backups have a good night out. Absolutely. Because what I was reminding somebody, we were talking about this the other day. When the Cincinnati game hit and AJ went down, and the first thing, oh no, what are we going to do? And Cincinnati ended up putting up Joe Burrow threw for 300 yards in the first half, 4 touchdowns, all this and all that. You don't expect your backups to maybe have the quality of your starter, but at least have someone competent in there. So to see the backups do what they do, and not only that, again, the most important thing to me is that Ryan Nielsen's message is getting across. Yes, it's going to be a lot about the defense when we're talking about the Falcons today, because quite honestly, the other two of the other touchdowns were special teams and pick six. So the mere fact that message is getting across to these young guys and those guys who are battling for spots on the team, that's encouraging to me. JJ says, did you see Ebiketie hit that spin move? Ebiketie has always had that. Yes, I did see it. But that's the crazy thing, JJ. I think this year, Ebiketie hopefully has learned, the one thing I saw from Ebiketie, and I'm usually not an X and O's guy, but from watching the games all the time, this is what I learned about him. Ebiketie has speed to burn. The problem with Ebiketie was when he would rush, whoever that left or right tackle was on the side that he was, they would always send him the long way. Ebiketie would always be one fingernail short, one pinky short from getting the quarterback, because those offensive linemen kind of used his own speed against him and made him go the long way to come get the sack or get into the backfield or whatever. And Ebiketie had some okay plays last year, but just to see that little bit of improvement is it's working wonders for me. I hope he gets to show that during these regular season games. David says, I also thought the offense was a bit more creative than last year, especially the passing game. Will be more balanced this year, depending on how the quarterback performs. And again, we get to see the 2023 version of Desmond Ridder, bigger, hopefully stronger, hopefully wiser. And let's see what he has in store this year. It was hard to really get into Logan Woodside a little bit. Quite honestly, barring something weird or injury, I'm not even sure Logan Woodside is going to be on this roster. If he does, he might be on the practice squad or something like that. But he did a decent job enough. I know he hit the one long pass that Josh Ali had in his hand and couldn't quite take it down. That was a little bit disturbing. But other than that, I think he did a good job. Can I sit here and be transparent to say I really wasn't as locked in to what Woodside was doing? I think he was good, but I want to see the guys that's going to be on this field. So my shift and my focus is really going to be this Friday against Cincinnati to see exactly what we do. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Terry says, Unc, I'm excited to see the last year's draft class take the next step forward. Me too. I'd love to see. Like I said, Harrison has already. I mean, I don't know, folks. I think we might, and I don't think I realized how big that cat was. You know, when the draft comes and we get excited and we see names and the scouting report and stuff like that and the old college film. But then when you see him in a Falcons uniform going against contemporaries on the other side, and you kind of look, and I was like, dang, that boy pretty big. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that translates on Sundays to other people on the other side of the field, preferably, especially talking about Carolina. Lyrics Mom is in the house. What is going on, ma'am? Happy Sunday and rise up. She says the defense got me ready to punch some folks. Oh, Lord, please don't punch anybody. But I understand what you're saying. It's a feeling, Kiki, that, you know, if this translates to the Armagnadas, Calais Campbells, the Jaden Ellis's and the Bud Dupree's and the Jesse Bates, if this what they did translates, then Kiki, we in for some special times in 2023. So I do understand what you're saying. That is pretty good. Dixon Way, that's Larry in the house. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Dixon Way on YouTube. Always your best live reaction streams that you have of all Atlanta sports. Please make sure to check them out. I said the Braves scored 3 touchdowns yesterday. Yeah, the Braves are good. Again, I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing. But it is August. So I'm hoping the winning continues. But more importantly, I hope they can kind of bottle a little bit of this up for the preseason. For the postseason in October, because that's when it's all going to count. But great work from the Braves so far. And man, Matt Olson giving Ronald Acuna run for his money for that MVP. 42 home runs. That's crazy. King Richie in the house. What is going on, man? Good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a minute, brother. Good to see you back in Uncle Steve's Lounge. And again, if y'all haven't seen Uncle Steve's Lounge in a while, please push the like button. We appreciate you all joining us. If you're on Atlanta Bird Gang on Facebook and you have not had an opportunity to see Uncle Steve's Lounge, do me a favor, switch over browsers, put in YouTube, put your Uncle Steve's Lounge, and just push a little subscribe thing there. Because once the season starts and you guys will start getting those live shots from Mercedes-Benz, those live shots from out of town when we're at the games and things like that, we want us all to enjoy that together. And so start now. Let's get prepped up right now and get into the Uncle Steve's Lounge YouTube channel for me. John Harris says, where was my quarterback Friday? You know that's going to bring some heat. Thank goodness they won on Monday. Would have been mess on the radio all day long. Well, not really. Again, I get it. And I agree with you to a certain extent that it would be nice to see Ridder. Ridder has not arrived. I don't think this was a reflection of Ritter arrived. You know what this was a reflection of? And it was kind of last year too. Just about every team except rookies, with the exception of Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, and CJ Stroud, with the exception of them, all the other starters who really did a lot of the combined practices, a lot of those guys didn't play because you basically played 2 games this week on Tuesday and Wednesday when you were having those combined practices against the Dolphins. And the Dolphins went the same way. So I understand where you're coming from, but in a game where your fortunes can turn on a twisted knee, messed up calf or something like that, I kind of get it, but you're going to get all the Ritter you can have this week. So I do agree with you, but at the same time, it's not worth going crazy about because every other team is doing the same thing. Raymond says, I like the approach I see so far. So far, so good, Raymond. I'm trying to tell you, it is good. King says, our whole team got a defensive mindset, and I love it. Maybe that's permeating through. Maybe Coach Nielsen has that mojo that you need. Christian Graham, what's going on, Uncle Steve? I'm loving the energy with this defense. I would like to see our first-string offense get 2 reps. I know Ritter needs it. I got a feeling they might see more than that because I also have a sneaky suspicion we might not see a lot of Ritter in game 3 for the preseason as well. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive that this will be the only Ritter sighting you're gonna get this week. So we'll see. Facebook, you say this is Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy? If I'm not on call that weekend, I'm gonna be at that game. Awesome. Lisa said the Panthers scored all the 0 points. Yeah, and you know, it's kind of what I've been saying a little bit about this Bryce Young thing. What better time for us to get him in his first game? Because I think it's going to be a little dangerous for him. I saw guys on that other squad. It didn't look like they had all their starters playing against Carolina, and they were able to easily get to him. And he, like I said, that wasn't Mississippi State on the other side. That wasn't Ole Miss on the other side or Arkansas. These are real-life NFL players. I think keeping it 100 with no love at all for the organization of Carolina, I think he's going to be all right in about 2 or 3 years. I think Bryce Young might be one of those guys. His height does scare me, but a couple of years from now, I don't think he's going to be Cam Newton-ish, but I think he'll definitely have enough to be successful. So David Starr says, we'll always get my 2 to 3 games in this year, and hopefully I'll pay for a playoff ticket. There you go, David. That's the way we're supposed to do it. Big Low Country Sports, man. That's my buddy right there. Y'all make sure I know y'all already have. If you haven't already, subscribe to Big Low Country Sports on YouTube. He is sporting a new mustache. Please go check the channel out and you'll see. He says, breaking news, Michael Walker was just released. And, you know, I'm not 100% surprised about that, Low, because I know they just signed the USFL Player of the Year, the defensive guy this year. And I know if you want to check more about that, check out my buddy Smitty Sports Machine. He has a short video about the signing. And also 95 North Sports Talk also had something on that as well. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of wish that would have worked out. But what this tells me is we're not going to put up with, yeah, he's not great, but he's a roster spot. Yeah, he's a body. This lets you know because Michael Walker was considered when he first got here to be somebody that was going to be pretty important in our defense. But the mere fact that they're letting you go a couple of weeks before the actual big cut, that says a whole lot. So I don't know if I'm going to miss that or not because it really wasn't that much to miss. But good luck to the brother on to his next thing here. So let's go down here. Austin is in the house. What's going on, Austin? Good to see you. Hopefully we'll be here. Christian says, good question. He's talking about the concert question. And for those of you who just popped in, the question of the day, along with, it's two different questions. The Falcon question is, and let me go back over here just to have. The Falcon question is, did Friday's preseason win, convince you to buy a ticket for the Falcons season opener against the Panthers? That's question number one. And question number two, which Christian is about to answer, is what artist, past or present, would you pay top dollar to see in concert? Now, I am the biggest, I personally think I'm the biggest Stevie Wonder guy of all time. Stevie, to me, is somebody that I think musically, and I know people have their favorites, but I just don't think you can get any better than anything Stevie Wonder has made from 13 to 73. The guy is still going strong. I know he's still doing a couple of little concerts. He slowed down quite a bit, but he's one of those guys that I would put up there on that list. I will say my other favorite person that I wanted to see is Prince. And I got a chance to see Prince during Dirty Mind with him, the time Vanity 6. I got a chance to see Purple Rain, obviously one of the biggest concert tours of all time. Got a chance to see Love Sexy tour overseas. Got a chance to see him here at Lakewood Amphitheater. So that's always a show. Michael Jackson is one of those guys too. I've had a chance to see him with his brothers here in Atlanta before. So just, awesome concerts if you get a chance. So let me get back up here to Christian. Christian said, if Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and Luther Vandross perform one night only, take my money. Luther is actually a bad boy. I've never had the pleasure, didn't have the pleasure to see Luther live, but I can imagine, and looking at old vintage films, I can see that was a pretty good concert. David says Michael and Prince, and I can imagine that those two will probably top a lot of the contemporaries list. Michael and Prince don't even need to say much. Both of those guys, top-notch performers at their peak of what they do. Facebook user says, my artist I'd pay top dollar for is Janelle Monáe. She is so talented as an artist. And I know if you guys haven't had a chance to, the last album she just came out with, and she's kind of discovering herself, and you'll have to look at some of the videos and stuff to see what she's talking about. But she's really a talented artist. I love the last album she had, the one with The Way You Make Me Feel. That was one of my favorite songs about 3 or 4 years ago. And she has a couple of good ones, Water Slide and a couple of other good things. Got a little reggae feel going on with her now, but she is super talented. And that matter of fact, she kind of got her start with, not got her start, but came to prominence. What was that song? Tonight, let's go. I'm trying to think what the name of that song is. I'm trying to think. I'll think of what the name of it is, but she sang background on that song. Frank says, I'll pay top dollar for any old school artist. Yeah, and I was thinking about that the other day when I saw a replay of the Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isley Brothers verses, and of course it was a facsimile, some fraction of what would have been nice, but it would have been awesome to see the Isleys in their prime against Maurice White, Philip in their prime, and those horns in their prime going against each other. So yeah, I feel you 100% on the old school. JJ the Great said, I paid top dollar to see Silk Sonic, Bruno Mars, and Anderson .Paak. And I'm gonna tell you what, last year when they were in, we went to Vegas and they had a little bit of a break and they weren't playing the weekend my wife and I were there. But yeah, I would have loved to see that concert just because I've always liked Anderson .Paak, But when they came out with the Silk Sonic thing, man, I'm just trying to tell you, boy, that was, whoo, that's some different stuff right there. John Higgins in the house. Hey, Uncle Steve, what's happening with you on this Sunday? Steve, I saw some of that Montgomery, Alabama out there Friday. Oh, man, my boy Big John. And, Bubba Gump is in here. What's going on, Bubba? Good to see you, my friend. Lisa Separate said, I would pay big money to see Michael Jackson, the original Earth, Wind, and Fire. Wow, that's deep. And TLC. Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire to me is just such a great combination of the vocals of Maurice White, who I'll say again is the most underrated voice in R&B history, with some of the greatest production and writing of those Earth, Wind, and Fire songs in the 70s and the early 80s were product of Maurice White. And his voice is just so dynamic. Obviously, Michael Jackson and TLC, another group when Lisa was around and right at the peak of Crazy Sexy Cool. That was really something to see going on. John Higgins says, hit him in the mouth. Oh, man. Classmate alert. What's going on, Ty? How you doing, ma'am? Say, I'm not compelled to buy tickets. Well, it depends on who you're going to see, because I hear you loud and clear. I do hear you loud and clear on that. Chuck, what's up, Chuck? How you doing, man? Say, encouraging start. There are no current artists I pay top dollar to see. Past artists I would have MJ, Prince, Luther, Stevie, Barry White, Whitney, Patty, the Eagles, Queen. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Those other ones would be compelling, especially Queen. That would have been a nice concert. Freddie Mercury in his prime. That would have been very good. Yeah, and I'm right along the lines with you, brother. I know today it's a lot different. We were posing this question to our kids, my wife and I, actually at lunch today. And my son is a big Drake guy, and he's also big on NBA YoungBoy. I guess that's I don't know, but that he likes him. And my daughter is a Brent Fayez, and Frank Ocean, who I do like. Frank, I would love to see Frank Ocean if I got an opportunity to see him as well. But yeah, it's not a lot of folks now, but again, that's generational too. We can't, it can't be mad. None of our parents were trying to see Prince when we were young, so it is what it is. Bubblegum says QB3 really doesn't matter because it's not part of the 53. Well, you remember, Bubba, they changed the rules a little bit where now they're going to allow the emergency quarterback to still be on the roster. They just changed that rule maybe about 2 months ago. So it could be something that might play into. But I hear you when you say it really doesn't really matter. I get you, but hey, let's hope no team would go through starter get hurt in the first quarter, backup get hurt in the third quarter. But at least they're putting that in there just to put it there. Chuck says, "Oh, I don't know how I forgot Shaka Khan, Jill Scott, and Erykah Badu. Those are some good ones as well. Yeah, Erykah catching a lot of flack." Messing with that beehive, which I could care less about them too. So we'll see. Rusty coming in, telling us about Michael Walker just got cut. Yeah, I see. Oh, man, we got a super chat. Man, this is really nice. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. That's my buddy, Greg from Custom Kicks. Y'all make sure y'all check Greg out. You see the hashtag right there, Custom Kicks. He made me some nice shoes that are going to make their 2023 debut against the Carolina Panthers. Say just some family love to the show and channel. Thank you again for the love and support of my talent, brother. And again, y'all make sure y'all check Greg out. Greg, please put your link in the chat so folks can take advantage of your awesome work. Get a chance to come over here and bring that back out for you if I can. JJ the Great says Carolina had 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen playing, and they were getting cooked like the Jets backups by the Jets backups. Imagine what Grady and Omenyata are going to do to them. And that's what I'm saying, JJ. I think a lot of people have this game being a little bit more competitive than I do. Again, I don't want to totally jump the gun, but yeah, rookie first start on the road. It just doesn't sound like a good day in the park for Mr. Bryce Young. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Cousin James in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us up in here, man. Thank you so much. Bubba Gum says Bryce Spice, the king of the division. Woo! Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Said Marina says, how do you feel about what you saw from the offense? And I go back to it, Marina. I was not as invested, and shame on me. I was not as invested in much of the skill play. I was invested on how they protected the quarterback, which they did an okay job. I know Jalen Mayfield was in there, and but they got to him, I think 3 times. They get 2 times or 3 times. But they were also able to make some nice holes for our running backs. Actually got 1 running touchdown, the 1 drive where we kind of drove down the last 4 plays and knocked it in the end zone. But you'll see probably a more pointed analysis next week after Desmond Ridder in the game gets up there. Deshaun, what's going on? Said rise up on defense. That's what I'm talking about. I think we're gonna hear a lot of that coming up this year. So y'all might as well start getting it ready. Y'all gonna get a lot of that. David Stark says, I need to see Ridder at least a half next game, maybe into the 3rd quarter. This is the dress rehearsal, and I need to see how this offense will operate under him. It will not shock me if you see him right at a half. I don't know if they'll go much further, maybe 1 series into it, because I don't think you'll see him game 3. I think this is his only shine that he's going to have. So, yeah, giving games some sports talk. Y'all make sure y'all check my buddy out, man. He's on there. He's giving some info on there. I say, I've been telling y'all, Michael Walker has not been looking good. Obviously, Falcons don't think so either. Bubblegum said tiptoe Walker. Woo! But again, Frank verifies Walker's gone. JJ says, might as well re-sign Rashad Evans with Walker getting cut. I'm just at a point where I think if you haven't signed him I don't know. And I know we can sneak him in under the cap, but you're talking about somebody who led the team in tackles and hasn't been here all summer. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see it. But maybe y'all do. James says, cousin, Friday's game is tempting me to get an NFL ticket. I live in Maryland. Well, you know what, James? Say that for a regular season, man. When I was saying buy the ticket, save it for something in the regular season. Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time coming up here for Cincinnati. And I can't tell you what to do. But if I'm going to come, save that money and time for a regular season game. I think you'll enjoy yourself more. JJ says, great mind things alike. Stevie is this youngin's favorite musician of all time. Yeah, JJ. And there are a couple of folks that have known me for a long since I was younger. I know Chuck is one. Stevie, I just don't think. And I can only imagine if Stevie probably had regular vision and could get up and move and groove and do all of that stuff. But I just don't think people realize how great that guy is, and still a living legend among us now that a lot of folks, see. John Higgins says all the 70s and 80s R&B. Larry says, I have 3 concerts to pay top dollar. Hip hop, Outkast, okay. R&B, Sade, that's good. And 3 comedy, Richard Pryor. Absolutely. That's hey, can't top those. That's 3 good ones right there. And John also says all the blues artists from the past and the present as well. Okay. JJ giving his a hand. The group was called Fun. Exactly. And we are young. Yeah. You can hear me trying, but Janelle Monáe was on that song. So thank y'all. Appreciate that. Winston says Mike Hughes has a soft tissue injury that will sideline him a week. That's fine. Long as he's here, long as he's available for week 1, that's good. I appreciate the update on that. Birgitta Johnson, my beautiful sisters in the house. I have to look at the schedule. I'm sure I will make at least 2 this year. You were singing We Are Young. Thank you. Yeah. I probably should have sent a text to her next because probably next to me, she's probably full of music knowledge, maybe even more than me now. Deshaun says Prince, as far as his pick for artist, I don't blame you. That's a good one. Facebook user said, what's up, Steve? Rides up. When's the last time you felt good about our defense? Depth was shown, but our offense is still in the air for me due to the first string wasn't in. But big money to Michael Jackson, RIP, the greatest entertainer of all time. And there is no way I could go against that. I mean, Michael Jackson was that guy. So I can understand that. Beginner says, of course, Prince. But let's take it back. I would love to have caught Queen and the Bee Gees. Y'all Bee Gees, man. Have y'all really gone back to listen to some of the Bee Gees stuff, especially starting like in the 70s, like the earliest? They were around in the 60s. But have y'all ever really gone back and watched some of their stuff? The Bee Gees were soul. I mean, straight soul. I mean, like, if you're listening on radio, you thought they weren't Australian soul. That's how soulful they were. Speaking of soul and meaning lack of soul, this is my buddy, Big Low Country, sporting the Ryan Nielsen, Arthur Smith copyrighted mustache today. What's going on, Mo?
What's going on? How you doing?
How you feeling, man?
Man, we feeling good, feeling great, man. How y'all feeling today?
Man, I can't call it, my friend. We sitting here waxing poetic about Friday and the good things we saw. If you all did not get an opportunity, Big Low was on Friday night after the game, breaking it down as only he can. Just give me right offhand some of the thoughts after you had a chance to breathe. You know, coming off the game, it's easy to wax poetic about some of the good stuff and everything, but after you've had a chance to look, take a deep breath, see what was going on, what's your overall feeling about the team going into Friday's game here at Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah, definitely. And if it's okay, can I turn my camera off on because I'm driving? I don't want to.
You can turn it off, man. It's okay, brother. I mean, if you don't want to show off the mustache, I don't care, man. I mean, I'm trying to give your mustache a little play, man. You know.
Oh, hey, Uncle, I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think that the thing is that, you know, whenever you have that type of performance, you want to kind of, you know, see if you want, because, you know, it's like I used to tell my players back in the day, you know, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is a habit and not just an act. So, you know, we want to make it one of those things where, you know, yes, we did it one time, but let's see if it's something that we could expound on and, you know, make it a regular occurrence. So by the time we're week 9 into the season, everybody's not getting naked in a phone booth because we got 4 or 5 sacks. You know, we want that to be a regular thing, right?
Right. I mean, you say that, and I think clearly about last year. Um, we were getting naked in game one after we were
Yes.
slamming Jameis Winston around in the first half or so. And then later on, we all know how that game ended up. So you're right. Proceed with caution, I would say.
Yes. Yes. Yes, definitely. You don't want to be one of those situations where it's like you know, it's kind of like one of my favorite country songs called "Let Me Down Easy."
Mm,
So
mm.
and basically the way the chorus goes is that no, if I fall, please won't you let me down easy. So we don't want to be one of those cases where we're up high in the sky and we go back to just getting 0.3 sacks a game.
Yeah, exactly. 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 If you weren't driving, I'd ask for the melodic version of that, but we'll
If
let you.
I fall, won't you let me down easy? Sing with me. If
See,
I leave my heart with you tonight, can you promise me that you're gonna treat it right?
my country acumen goes as far as you got to know and know the good in the photo. No, I actually know a lot more than that, but I just saw Kenny Rock. You ever sit down and watch TV and watch PBS and they show these
Yes,
old concerts and stuff like that?
yes,
Last night,
yes.
Kenny Rogers was on, and
Oh,
and he was singing, Lucille, the Gambler, Lady, Coward of the Cat. I mean, just stuff that we probably know about that some of the kids who probably listen are like, huh? What are you talking about?
man,
But Kenny was a bad boy
he's a bad man.
before there was Garth Brooks and before there was um, Luke Bryan and stuff like that.
Alan
He was
Jackson's and Luke Bryan,
absolutely.
Luke Combs. Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome. Miss Pamela's in the house. Hey, Miss Pamela, good to see you in here. Thank you for joining us on Uncle Steve's Lounge, guest starring Big Low Country in here. I did see. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw another thing right here, and that's Brother Greg is in the house. Greg, thank you again for the super chat. Say I have two concerts I would love to go see: Bootsy Collins when he played for the Isley Brothers, and Jimi Hendrix. The guitar solos is what I want to hear. That's actually really good. What you have, Big Low. I know your music acumen is strong. Living past the present. Who would Low get naked for to go pay that top dollar to see?
I mean, if I could have seen anybody, I would want
Anybody,
to see Michael
past or
Jackson,
present, dead or
especially
alive.
yeah, yeah. If I could have seen anybody, I would have wanted to see Michael Jackson, especially like after seeing Beyonce last night,
Right.
because it's like, I mean, it's like this new thing that she has going on with like the house music deal. It's cool. I like more of the R&B Beyonce, but now I can at least say, hey, I went to see Beyonce live. That's something that I can always say. And I mean, moving forward, if I could have had a chance to see Michael Jackson live, like that would have been, because he's influenced so many people. Like that would have been an experience for a lifetime.
Hey, let me ask you a question. After you woke up from falling asleep, was there anything to the Beyonce concert that was worth it to you?
Man, come on, man. It's Beyonce, bro. Come on, man. Of course it was something. It's Beyonce.
I know. I don't
It's
want people coming
Beyonce,
out.
man. Come
Give
on,
give 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 me the Rolling Stone critique of last night's show. I saw some small highlights of it that they showed on the news yesterday. But what was the atmosphere? How was she overall? And did she give the ATL love when she was out there?
First of all, first thing she said whenever she came on the stage was, ATL, I love you. That's the first thing she said.
Good for her.
So, she showed us love, and she showed love throughout the show. As far as the environment, I mean, all I can say is that that's what I hope the Benz look like September 10th.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I mean,
Let me ask you a question. Did she split it in half, or did she do the whole stadium?
What you mean?
Did they cut the stadium in half? In other words, did they just have one side, or was she in the round? She was in the round.
Yeah,
she was in the round. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's like right there in front of the window, because like the stage was so big and she had like this big screen. Like those seats, like in front of the, that view of the city, like those seats, they were. I think people could sit back there, but it would have just been listen only. But I mean, everything else, like, yeah, the whole stadium was packed. There had to be 60, 70,000 people in there.
Man, that's
like
crazy.
It shook like the dome used to.
Wow. How long did it take you to get out of there?
Man, well, see, because the thing is that we were in the we had the AMG lounge tickets.
Got it.
So we could actually chill out afterwards, and the drinks and the food were free. So it's like we got a couple of drinks and chilled out for a minute, kind of let everything die down. But we got out like an hour or so afterwards.
Was it true that Felipe Franks had just been hired and was serving drinks that night? Just trying to see if he had landed on his feet after unceremoniously being dumped by the Falcons. Was it true that he was in the lounge serving drinks?
Felipe Franks can't come nowhere close to Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
You leave my point. I believe that's long live Felipe.
He can't come nowhere within 285.
Let me jump through a couple of these comments right quick. False Start says, Unc, I'll pay top dollar for that guy that hit Nancy Kerrigan. Wow. To do the same thing to Tom Brady's knee before the Super Bowl in 2016. Dang. Dang, boy. I ain't trying to catch accomplice to assault charges here. Jeremy says, best concert I ever saw in Memphis, NWA, Too Short, De La Soul, Slick Rick, LL Cool J. $19 in 1989. Totally get that that's a band's main revenue stream in the digital age, but I can't spend $300 to $1,000 for a ticket to any show. And I almost agree with you to a certain extent. And I think that's what I'm saying, Jeremy. These days, I mean, you take Lowe, for instance, and I know Lowe is a man of many means, but I know he ain't paying $500 for every concert that's coming through Atlanta. So you have to make decisions on who you want to see. So if he was trying to cuff it this year and wanted to see Beyonce, that's what he wants to choose to do it. I'll be willing to bet you there were people that had to make a decision between Taylor Swift and Beyonce this year. Because Taylor, when was Taylor here? June?
May, I think.
May? Okay, May or June. That she was. I know it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I mean, people have to, make those decisions, man, and see what's going on. I'm going to jump to a couple of people that I haven't seen in here. MW, the franchise player, what's going on, brother? Good to see you in the house. Retro G is here, says, got to have the home field advantage this season. Also, what's going good, bye-bye, Michael Walker. Man, I'm about to ask you about that in a second, Lo. Jay Black is in the house. What's going on, Jay? Say we just signed a linebacker from the USFL. Travis Preston is in the house. Say, give me Michael Jackson Prince in 1991 MC Hammer. His shows were full of energy. Lyrics Mom, Kiki says, Phillips is back, meaning Clark Phillips. She also says, I wish I could teleport myself back to the 60s and see the Temptations, the original 5 with Ruffin, Melvin, Otis, Eddie, and Paul. My dad got to see them in his teens. Oh, wow. That would be awesome. That would be totally awesome. Austin Douglas says Mike Hughes was making the team with Alford winning that punt return job. I like Clark Phillips. Alford and Borders. Pamela Johnson says Hitman Hellum is balling out. Michael Lewinsky says defense looked nice last night. Have to cut coup. Yeah, right. So let me go back before we get to the next phase of people. So Michael Walker. Let's talk about it. It's not a secret that I think a lot of fans were kind of saying. I've heard his name. I've heard Ogundeji's name, of folks that, kind of maybe even a little bit of Richie Grant, of folks that you say, all right, y'all, we're going to give y'all this training camp to see if y'all can get it together. A little bit surprised that they make this move 3 weeks early.
No, I'm not actually. I feel like it's one of those cases where it's like, simply playing, they're just not playing the radio no more. They're saying, hey, if you ain't with it, then get going. And Michael Walker, he looked bad against backups. So it's like everybody else around him was shining, but he didn't look like he was a guy that's been on the team for the last 3 years. So I mean, you got to create that revolving door. Rinse, wash, rinse, repeat.
It is the translation of that to Low, just keeping it real. We probably just couldn't afford to cut him yet because we just didn't have anybody else. I mean, let's keep it real. The last couple of years, it's not like we had a stable of linebackers sitting out there. I think I'm at a point where I'm just saying, we brought in real life veterans and real people who have done this job at a better level than he has. So maybe it's just that his time ran out more than it is this conspiracy about, I don't know. I just don't think he's maybe just not that good.
Yeah. I mean, that and that's that. To be honest with you, that's exactly what it is. It's one of those situations where you kind of get what you pay for. And I don't know the true financials, but I can tell you that I know that Chick-fil-A employees make more money than Popeyes employees. And where do you get better service at, right?
Right. Oh man!
If you're a Popeyes employee, look, I'm not trying to knock you. I ain't trying to count your pockets, but I'm just saying it's like, you. You get what you pay for.
I hope you're going into a Popeye drive-in right now and somebody calls you out.
I'm actually going to go get me a snow cone. That's where I'm going. I'm going to get me a snow cone. So
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Let me tell you something. Let me show you how up-to-date stuff is. Now, I take that back. He's right here now. Michael Walker, I was looking at what he was making this year, and I don't think I realized it had jumped up that high. His base salary was $2.7 million.
Yeah.
The problem is we still got to hit. The problem is we're still going to take a cap hit of 2.9. So it's not like that's going to help us a whole lot. But
it's helping your culture though.
This is true. I was just
looking at addition by subtraction. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, I've been saying this for years. Back whenever Matt Ryan and Julio Jones were here, and I was like, look, they're going to have to go sometime. Players come and go, and it's like, Michael Walker is like, he came and he's gone, and yes, we're going to have to pay that cap penalty, but at the end of the day, it's like in 2 years from now, it's not going to be there no more. But the Atlanta Falcons are still going to be here at the end. But you're helping your culture. You're getting the guys out of here who aren't playing up to the expectation.
True. I almost wish they could have. And unfortunately, and you're absolutely right. If you're not fitting the culture and don't have a place here, let's not pretend these next couple of games you're going to be here. Let's move on. I just always look at the financials and looking at it. It would have been nice to be able to trick someone into trading him. So maybe we can get rid of that 2.7 million, and at least that could add on to the little bit of salary cap that we do have left. I'm gonna let you help me answer this question. Ghost Peppers is in the house as always. What's up, Ghost?
So
Helping us out here. Ghost says, "Why did we hold on to Michael Walker over Rashawn Evans in the first place? Just like we held on to Felipe Franks over Michael Pruitt." But we end up bringing Pruitt back. Hopefully, that's the case with Evans. Now, the first part of that, I don't think we quote unquote held on to Michael Walker more than not letting Rashawn Evans. Rashawn Evans was a free agent, so it's not like you had any control over what he was going to do. We didn't cut him. It was his time, and it's his decision whether he wanted to come back. Now, as far as the Felipe Franks over Michael Pruitt, kind of the same thing. Felipe, well, he was an undrafted free agent, so I don't think he was technically. Was he technically still under contract though? Felipe?
yeah,
He was. Okay, so that helps me. So Felipe being under contract, Michael wasn't. So these free agents have a different course that they can do as opposed to Michael Walker and Felipe Franks, who are controlled by the team as far as what their next move is. So that answers part of it for me. But I just wanted to get your input on his question of why would we hold on to Michael Walker over the Rashawn Evans in the first place?
Well, I mean, I think one of the main reasons why you would do it is because you got to look at the circumstances. Whenever Ryan Nielsen came on to the coaching staff, he was probably like, well, look, to make everything as cost effective as possible, let's keep him on the squad and let's see if we can make it work. Because you got to think about Ryan Nielsen. He's the first year defensive coordinator for this squad. So, you got a guy that's still on a rookie contract. You want to keep those guys as long as you can. I think after that first game, they realized it ain't going to work. So,
yeah, that's true.
That's why they was like, okay, let's go ahead and move on from it and, see if we get guys who could do it a little bit better.
I heard you talk about this during your broadcast, and Winston brings it up. Ogundeji had a shot to solidify his spot last game, but it's going to be hard now with AK and Harrison flashing the way he did. And I'm going to tell you what, man. I know it's the first preseason game, but you know what? It's our team. Harrison looked like he was moving at a different speed than other people were this past game. To Winston's, what he was talking about, is Ogundeji going to find it hard to fit into that rotation with the way you saw AK moving and Harrison moving?
I put it to you like this right here. It's ironic that Michael Walker's last name is Walker. I never watched The Walking Dead, but they call the zombies. They call them walkers. Dead man walking. That's what Ogundeji is. He's a walker. He's a dead man walking. It's just a matter of time, bro.
Man, yeah. I mean, but there are going to be some, and we have to be a little fair because we criticize Thomas Dimitroff for missing on draft picks. Ogundeji was not a Dimitroff product. Michael Walker was not a Dimitroff product. So what do you say about those folks that might tend to, not criticize Terry, but easily criticize Dimitroff for misses? And if I'm not mistaken, Walker was what? Was he fourth or fifth? Fourth round?
I think fourth.
Fourth round? And Ogundeji was fourth as well, right? I'm not looking at it. I'll look at it while you answer the question of should Terry get some of the same, Michael Walker was 4th round. But actually, Michael Walker was Dimitrov. I apologize. Michael Walker was Dimitrov.
Yeah, I was thinking he was Dimitrov.
My apologies. My apologies. Michael Walker was Dimitrov. For those of you getting ready to.
But even if he was, I don't. Even if he was, I don't feel like Terry. Dimitrov missed on so many, and he missed on early draft picks. It's not just the 4th and 5th round, because you get down to 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th round. It's like it's a little bit of a gamble, But it's like Dimitrov missed on the Tack McKenzie's of the world, and the Jamal Andersons, dare we say Vic Beasley? He didn't even really want to play football like that. There are just so many people that Dimitrov missed on. Meanwhile, it's like, and he did it consistently. Like, every time he had a 1st round pick, you're like, I don't know, Keanu Neal. And Keanu Neal, he's changing teams like people change draws now. So it's
and I definitely did not want to make this Terry versus Dimitrov. It's absolutely not fair to Terry, who is only year 3 into the job. I think I always do just want to be fair to Dimitrov, not telling you he was the end all. He left when he was supposed to leave. Probably left 3 years earlier. 3 years later. I apologize. But
yeah,
on his resume are 7 winning seasons and 6 playoff berths and a Super Bowl berth. So when you're talking about a franchise that had not done that, had barely done the 6 playoff appearances in its entire 50 plus years prior to that, it's always something that I look at and just say, okay, well, we might have been a little rough on them. The last 3 or 4 years left a big sour taste in our mouth. But I also say, but let's not forget the good times. There were good times. As a matter of fact, between 08 and 17, executive of the year 2 times in a row. You gave up the fortress for Julio, but Julio turned out to be a Hall of Famer. You drafted Matt Ryan number 3. You could have gone Glenn Dorsey. There are things to look at to say, well, let's not exactly beat them up. But again, the more I talk, the more it sounds like I'm defending. I'm only saying be fair.
I'm glad. Fair. I'm glad you have this.
Yeah.
This introspection. That's growth. So you actually looking at your situation to see it. You got introspective.
I'm trying.
I appreciate that.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying, because I know a lot of people.
It's like we had 7 playoff runs, but it's kind of. At what cost?
Right.
It's like the legit franchises, they'll make these playoff runs, and then later on, it's like, even if they do have to take a year off, like the Rams did, it's like they can still come back, and it's like Thomas Dimitrov had us stuck, and if he would have kept controlling the franchise, we would have been in a terrible situation for the next decade.
True. Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So it's like, yes, he traded. Yes, we drafted Matt Ryan. He traded for Julio Jones, but we legit went into every game depending on Matt Ryan and Julio Jones to win us a game.
True.
Like it was tough when we couldn't get legit team wins. Like, the game against San Francisco last year, I felt like that was a good team win. And with Thomas Dimitrov, if he would have kept managing the franchise, it just would have continued to be, more focus on 1 to 2 players, and hopefully, we could win a game just wishing on a penny with a hole in it.
And Dion Ferris thanks you for that long awaited. That was one of my favorite songs. pity widows. They are hopeless. One time for the fan in the house. What's going on, man? Say rise up, y'all.
One time.
I tell you, every time I enjoy Sunday nights watching those cats. I know hopefully we'll get a chance to meet up with those guys pretty soon and do our thing. By the time, most of the time y'all are on Sunday night, man, Unc is calling it a day and usually getting ready to snuggle up in the bed. But I always do have my little earphones in, listening to y'all. Y'all make sure y'all check out one time for the fan. I don't know if they're going to be on tonight, but if they are, y'all make sure y'all check them out and squeeze over there to that particular platform. Dixon Way says, I feel like Steve was looking at me with the Dimitrov and Terry comps. LOL, don't worry. I got my eyes on Terry. Yeah, I think everything you said was elegant, and I appreciate what you were saying. But I also say that, for those of us who were here prior to 08, and well, I ain't go deeper than that, prior to Vic. And we just didn't have regular success. And he spoiled us a little bit. He made some bad moves, but we were winning. And when you're winning, sometimes you're willing to forget a bad move or two. Not a lot of people go back and talk about giving up all the draft and then having Peter Carnes as your number 2 pick in the next year. Nobody talks about that because Julio gave you some decent years. So that's the only reason I say that. I'm not here to tell you that guy.
That's it. Hey, I'm gonna step away for a second. Hopefully, I can get a chance to come back. If you ain't
do your thing, man. Appreciate you joining us, man. Grab me something and send it through the post office. I know it'll get here.
I got you, bro.
All right, brother. All right, thank you, Big Low, man. Appreciate you, man. Always good to have him up in here, man. Sorry about everybody in the chat. I was trying to go through a lot of the folks in here. I have seen you all. Thank you for continuing to go into the chat for me. Millie Mills, I see you in the house. Mark says, LOL, give me Popeyes over everything. Talking about Big Low, talking about that Popeyes. Pamela was talking about Walker wanting his walking papers after that interview with the Atlanta podcast, the one on Final Whistle. Yeah, that he was on. I remember a lot of people were talking about that afterwards. Michael says, do you expect Heineke to play a lot in the second game? Yeah, he'll play. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure. Woodside might get some time. If without looking at anything or hearing anything, I would imagine Ritter will probably play most of the first half, if not all, and you'll probably see a heavy dose of Heineke in the second half. And then you may, in the third game, see Heineke with Woodside in that third. I don't think you're going to see much of Ritter after game 2. Bubblegum says Michael Pruitt over Felipe Franks. Absolutely. No kidding. I was just joking about anything I say about Felipe Franks. That's for sure. Is that Bubblegum says TD could draft wide receivers. That's it. Yeah, give him that. I give him that. Billy Mills say Tat McKinley over TJ Watt. Make sense. And look, you gotta admit, back when they were doing moves like that, I think we were coming off of the 2017 season. We wanted some more help for Vic on the other side. There was not a soul knowing that Vic Beasley was going to turn into what he ended up turning into. And let's not act like TJ Watt went top 10. It's one of those things, Billy, that when we play the Wayback Machine now, it's easy to go back and say, y'all should have got Michael Parsons over Kyle Pitts when you see Michael Parsons didn't even go until 11, right? Or you should have got Patrick Mahomes and and moved on from Matt Ryan. It's easy to say that, but Matt Ryan had just come off, an MVP season 2 years prior. While it's easy for us to say it now, I just want to be fair to say, okay, yeah, same thing, Mark. He's talking about tackle. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's again, TJ Watt was what number? I'm looking up real quick while I'm trying to see. TJ Watt was number what when he was drafted? He was in the first round, number. Hold on, I'm pulling it up, y'all. Sorry. He's a number 30 pick in the first round. So you talking about not just the Falcons, you're talking about 29 other teams. So it is kind of to say that. The only thing Watt had on his side was he was JJ's brother. It's easy to say it now. Robin, what's going on? Good to see you in the house. Thank you. Abel says, do he get a song from for Michael Walker? Nah, he doesn't have that much acumen. But nah, I don't think so. Michael says, I would love to see you some island treats. DM, I got you, brother. I got you. I actually would. Thank you. Stephen J. Alford is in the house. What's going on, Stephen, man? I got to bring you on here right before the season starts, man, because I know you're going to be down there at the stadium, so maybe we can hook up down there, my friend, and let these folks know what's going on today. Winston says Dimitrov was our best GM as of yet, but those early busts and not being able to build the trenches hurt the franchise seriously. Fontenot has admirably revamped both sides of the line and the cap. And it's almost fair to say Terry's work is just getting started this year because you ran into the swamp land with all of the contracts and the money and things like that. So he's going to have to work his way through that in order to, finally start making the picks you want to make. So that's fair. One Time for the Fan says, yes, they are on at 8 p.m. So those who are watching, make sure that you zip it over to One Time for the Fan at 8 p.m. They are usually on Sunday, so I can imagine. Yes. Pamela says, my favorite song from the Disney movie Frozen is Let It Go, Let It Go. Yes, Let It Go indeed. That seems like that's going to be the Falcons theme right here. Jane says, cousin, I meant YouTube NFL ticket. Oh, the NFL ticket for first. I got you. They actually are, what is the thing called? NFL Plus? But I think that's just preseason games. But yeah. Ghost Pepper says drafting Jamal Anderson 98 over Patrick Willis. Yeah. That was a question mark as well. Definitely. John Harris says, I got to get them brakes checked. I keep hearing a squealing noise. It's so bad it sounds like it's coming from the phone. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I don't know. Millie Mills says, but looking at tape from both of them players before the draft, TJ was better regardless. They wanted Tat because he put his hand in the dirt more. Listen, I'm not arguing that in retrospect that was the better pick. I'm just saying if you had a chance to redo the draft, TJ Watt would be top 5 probably that year. So I guess my only thing is I know we played the way back game. I just say just be fair that there were 29 teams, not just the Falcons. There were 29 teams that thought TJ Watt was not worth drafting. And who wouldn't want TJ Watt on their team right now? So I'm not debating who was better. I mean, TJ is obviously better. I'm just saying easy to say now. That's all. Appreciate that, man. Mike, you are the man, brother. Always. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Don't forget, y'all, if you just joined us in the last few minutes, also put down past or present, living or passed on, who would you pay top dollar for to see in concert? There were a lot of people that I missed up and down the road here, but yeah, y'all put that down for me. Bubba Gump says, I didn't want TJ because the media would be more interested in JJ. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, Bubba. I think a lot of teams probably thought that. A lot of teams, when you have, it's almost the Peyton Eli thing. And was Eli one of the greats? No. Eli's whole legacy, his whole legacy is going to be beating Tom Brady twice. Eli Manning is going to get in the Hall of Fame for beating Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. He's not going to get in for being great. He's not going to be in for being one of the best of his time. He never was. He's going to get in for head-to-head twice beating the greatest quarterback in NFL history in the championship 2 times. That's what he's going to get in for. So when you start talking about, names and thinking that the sibling is going to do just as good as, or even a case with the parent and the son, we're getting ready to come up on that next year when, next year, is it next year or the year after? Marvin Harrison's son, who is lighting it up in Ohio State, when he gets ready to come out, you'll see all the comparisons. It's going to be interesting. Stephen J. Alford says Michael Jackson. Yeah. Michael Jackson is definitely one of the folks a lot of people would like to see in concert. And if anybody got a chance to see Beyonce, let me know if you did. Lowe was obviously there, but if anybody else had a chance, go check me out. So I would have loved to have seen Oscar Peterson, a man that big, being able to play the piano as fast as he could, was always amazing to me. And I mean, just, yeah. So when we start talking about what's next, what are you going to be looking forward to for Friday? Obviously, to see the defensive players and see if the starters can replicate what these players did this past week against Miami. I would imagine we're not going to have a Joe Burrow sighting with his calf messing with him as he. I would imagine you're going to see him game 1 out there. You're not going to see him. But tell me what you all want to see this week against Cincinnati. Is it more defense? Is it the question everybody else wants to talk? How is Ritter going to look in his first real action on the field with other people literally trying to tackle him? What is it going to look like for him on the field next week? Do we want to see if Mac Hollis is going to give enough opportunities to prove that, yes, he's this number 2 receiver that we're looking for? Will Kyle Pitts get an opportunity to get out there for a couple of plays? I know they say they've been bringing him along a little bit during, I know he played a little bit during the practices last week, but are we going to see him a lot? Are we going to see Bijan a lot? People were scared when they saw Bijan. He's number 3 on the depth chart. Of course he is. He's going to be number 3, but he's going to play. So don't worry about that. So y'all tell me, what are we looking forward to seeing as far as the Falcons this week? Winston says Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming out after this season. Okay, so I thought I couldn't remember whether he was a freshman or a junior. Pamela says it's all about the defense. And I know a lot of people, since we saw what we saw on Friday, again, will Calais Campbell show up at all? It wouldn't shock me if he didn't play. He might get the double secret veterans pass for this week. I'm not sure. I want to see Caden Ellis move around. Still a little concerned about the linebacker core. We just got rid of Michael Walker, just signed the XFL guy. So I'm interested to see what this linebacker core is going to be. Michael, great statement. I want to see what Troy Anderson is he going to step up. Second round pick, you need to start seeing some of the fruits of that pick, some of the anticipation. You went out of the box to get him in the second round, so we need to start seeing some things from that. John Harris said, I want to see if the O-line can pass block and if Ritter can move the offense for one scoring drive. That's legit because we've heard all this offseason, stockpiling talent. You know, we got Algier who ran for 1,000 yards. CP Patterson doesn't need to really prove anything, but you have him probably more in a third down capacity this year, I would imagine. Bijan, what are you going to do with him out there on the field? Is Drake going to continue to improve? Is Kyle Pitts back? Jonnu Smith, who is really the forgotten man this offseason when you start talking about offseason acquisitions. And folks, that's a huge one because I think if everybody else is covered and he has proven that he is a pretty nice target to go to if everyone else isn't there. So, yeah, very good point, John. King Richie says, I want to see more offense in full because of the offense move like the defense, the league in trouble. And I'm with you, King. I want to see what this offense can do on a regular basis. The starters, what they can do. I want to see our ones against Cincinnati's ones. It's not like Cincinnati has this overpowering defense. Hendrickson is absolutely a beast, but at the same time, it's not like Cincinnati were world beaters. But to see that defensive line go up against our offensive line is going to be a challenge. Winston says there's a lot of pressure on the starters to keep up the intensity that the backups displayed, especially on the defensive side. We need to see Ritter get into and maintain a rhythm throughout the game. That is fair. Ms. Pamela says the Falcons are not opening their playbook in preseason, but you better believe against the Panthers, the playbook will be wide open. You're absolutely right. You know, a lot of people, one of the things you hear, one of the criticisms, Pam, is when people talk about Arthur Smith's play calling. And fair for a couple of games last year, but you're absolutely right. You're not going to show your hand in game two. I think you're going to see a lot of basic sets. You're going to see a lot of two tight end sets. I don't think you'll see the exotic things until the Carolina game, but just, you know, straight up your 5 against their 4 or 3 or whatever Cincinnati's running, and just try to see if we can just pound the ball down their throat. And more importantly, let's see if Ritter looks comfortable. I know, and I don't want to seem like, you know, because I know a lot of people say, Unc, you're always down on Ritter. I'm not down on Ritter, but what I do want to see is what he looks like against another team that doesn't have black and red in them. And we saw it a little bit in practice, but they held back on tackling you in those games too. This Friday, Cincinnati is not going to hold back. There's not going to be a whistle blown before they get to you. They'll be sacking you, just like we were sacking the little guy from Skylar Thompson. We was tackling him this week. There were no red jerseys being put on him to not get hurt. So that's what I want to see this week from the Falcons. Can they put on a nice pocket, give a nice pocket to Ritter and see how he gets things done? Dirty Bird, what's going on? Unc say, I want to see Dez get out there and distribute the ball to each playmaker without any mistakes. I would love to see a deep ball as well, but I'm not going to hold my breath. That's a very good point. A lot of criticisms in practice about the deep ball. I'm not crazy concerned because I don't think that's really going to be the Falcons' game. I think they'll take shots, but they'll be calculated shots. I think this team is going to be ground and pound. I think you're going to see a lot of action from the tight ends. But to your point, spread it around to your playmakers. It would be nice if I could see the ball get to Drake. Nice if I could see Bijan get something in the open field. Nice if I could see what Kyle looks like on that knee. Good if I could see Jonnu Smith, see if he can get greased up on the offense. And then don't forget about Tyler Algier. Let's get him, kind of stocked and ready to go. People forget this time last year, Tyler Algier was inactive. Let's see if he's ready game one as well. This is a first for him. He'll be starting the year on the roster and probably getting at least 10 carries. So, JJ said, if he plays, I want to see what Pitts looks like too. Yeah, I hear you. I got him. Yep. Mark says, I got him for a 7-2. Jonnu, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jonnu is one of those guys, man. Y'all go back and look at the tape. The stuff he did with the Patriots and Tennessee. Y'all be careful. That might be your red zone guy. Because they can't check everybody. I can't wait to see a 2 tight end set inside the red zone with him and Pitts in there, Bijan in the backfield, maybe even Bijan and Tyler in the backfield, Drake London on one side, Matt Hollis on the other side, and just see who they pick. Who does the defense pick? And can the offensive line be able to hold up with the defense? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing on Friday. As great as it was to finally see some football on this past Friday, and especially the dominating way that the defense did, I'm even more excited to see what happens this week, knowing that the guys you're going to see on the field are the guys you're going to see against Carolina in game one. So, Smart Rides in the house said, I would pay big dollar to see Luther in concert. I'm not judging until week 1. Remember, this is the era of big time. Yeah. A lot of talk, man. Whole lot of talk. Too much talk these days. So, Pasta Girls in the house. How you doing, Pasta Girls? And what is your earliest Super Bowl prediction? Woo! Man. My homer prediction is always Atlanta Falcons over whoever. So let's get that out the way. I want my Falcons to get to the Super Bowl and win. My Steve, put the drink down and tell her who you want, who you really think is going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't see Kansas City not repeating. I just, dude, as long as Mahomes is healthy, I just don't see him and Kelsey. I just don't see anybody that's going to beat them. And as far as the NFC goes, I think it's a 2-man race this year. I think it's going to be Philadelphia and San Francisco. Both of those teams are just stacked with talent. There are dark horses in the NFC. I think if Detroit can have some semblance of what they had last year, I think they could surprise. It would not shock me to see Seattle make another run. And obviously, from an overall standpoint, I think Atlanta's going to win the South. I'm not saying that because of Homer. I think Atlanta is just the better team in the South. And we will be that much better depending on what we get from the quarterback position. If the better Ritter plays, the higher our seed will be. So worst case scenario will be the 4th seed because we're going to win the NFC South. I didn't question. There's no stuttering. We are going to win the NFC South, but our seed depends on how Ritter turns out, in my opinion. Michael says, I'm interested in Pitts as well. Larry says, the Panthers starters look really bad against the Jets starters. I can't wait to keep pounding the Panthers. Listen, I wish the season started next week and we play those guys as we are. But let's not, again, as enthusiastic as I am, I don't want people to get it twisted. The Panthers are a prideful team too. It's not like they're going to come up here and say, well, the Jets beat us 27-0, so we ain't got nothing to live for. So those guys will go in there and they'll work and do what they do. So let's see what happens. Dirty Bird Bill says, I also want to see Troy Anderson make some plays. I'm not at all sold on him yet, but he is a very high ceiling. And one thing, Bill, that I look at that, Troy is now surrounded by other guys who have done it before. guys who have done it on a different level. I want to see how much he has sponged up. I want to see how much he has taken from those veteran leaders on the team, the new ones, and see what he can do. That's me. Winston says we got Jonnu for the 7th. We got from Deron Harmon going to the Bills. JJ says I can't wait until week 1. These Panthers fans been talking like they're world beaters. Yeah, they're gonna talk. Let them talk. Michael says I've heard a lot about Hollins. I want to see his game. I'm gonna tell you what. Lo and I were talking about 2 weeks ago. From the time we saw Hollins in early OTAs in June till what we saw him come out in the training camp, I don't know. He might have been at that Popeyes we were talking about eating. It looked like he put on some even more weight, or maybe it was just more defined recently or something. I don't know. But, I don't know. JJ said, I can't see San Francisco going back to the Super Bowl until they get their quarterback situation fully locked. They can't keep rotating quarterbacks. JJ, I absolutely agree with your assessment, but here's my problem. San Francisco, position for position, is probably the most rounded team in the NFC. And that includes Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is solid on defense. But I think when you start looking at all the positions, if we're really honest, I do. Yeah, I'm not here to tell you Brock Purdy is the next coming. But even the mere fact, the mere fact that they took Mr. Irrelevant with the team they had, and they marched him within an eyelash of getting to the Super Bowl this year, y'all can talk about Kyle Shanahan all you want to. You can spew all the hate you want about Kyle Shanahan. That's good coaching. That's good coaching. That the culture doesn't change when the most important position on your team does. So I don't know if that's a personal thing with people have with San Francisco. I'm not going to be blinded. San Francisco is a good team. Yes, Atlanta beat them soundly when we came in here. Let's not forget half of their defense was out that game. Their offense was intact, with the exception that they hadn't made the trade for McCaffrey yet. But with McCaffrey there in offense, George Kittle coming on at the end of the year last year, that defense, period. Deebo Samuel is still there. I mean, I don't know, folks. I don't know. One day I'll say Philly, one day I'll say San Francisco. Kind of goes like that. Facebook user says Atlanta will be better than San Francisco. I hope so. I mean, look, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm rooting for my team against San Francisco. I'm sorry, rooting against my team with San Francisco. Obviously, I want us to be better, but these glasses are pretty thick. The prescription on these things are thick. They're not that thick. Yeah, San Francisco has a better roster. We can say that all we want to. Jonathan, what's going on, man? So let's stay away from injuries. How you been doing, my friend? Good to see you in the house. Thank you for joining us as always. Man, one day if you get an opportunity doing one of these post games, I'm gonna have to steal you, bring you in here because I know you got the knowledge, brother. So you can come in here and help us out on Uncle Steve's Lounge. I would love that. Love that. Lyrics Mom says it won't be Dallas. Yeah, I'm not sold on Dallas, man. Dallas, every year we hear the same stuff. Dak Prescott is about to blah, 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 blah. The whoever next receiver is going to be Michael Irvin. We went through that with Dez Bryant. We went through that with, what was the guy's name? His name just jumped my mind. Not Dez, is before Dez. It was another receiver that they were building up to be the next guy. Zeke Elliott is going to be the next Emmitt Smith, and now Tony Pollard is going to be the next guy. Dallas is and their fan base will have you think that they are in the running for the Super Bowl every sinking year, and they are not. Dallas is, they took advantage of a very weak schedule last year. It wouldn't even shock me if Dallas doesn't make the playoffs this year. Because I think the only people that think Dallas is that great is Dallas. So I don't believe it. JJ the Great says Dallas never winning again as long as Jerry's still running things over there. It's hard to tell him not to if you own the team. When you running the team and the GM, I mean, who's going to tell him not to? Y'all make sure, as y'all coming in, make sure you push the like on the YouTube video. I appreciate it. If you're on Facebook, please push the like up there too. We appreciate it. Thank y'all for joining me on here. We talking some good Falcons today. Ghost Pepper says, for how long the starters will play is the question. They need to play the whole first half on both sides of the ball. I think that would be smart to me. Ghost, especially if they're not going to play game 3. If Ritter is not going to be there game 3, which I'm not anticipating he is, I think you got to let him finish the half. I think you go in there. I know a lot of people like play the first series and then sit them down. No, let them get one. Desmond is 4 games in his NFL career. There's no reason to sit back and act like he has arrived. Play the whole first half. I'll agree with not playing in the third game, especially if he shows up a little bit. Winston says Philly just lost Bradley for the season, so they're looking for linebacker help. Walker might end up there. Hey, they took Duke Riley from us, so why not? Facebook user says San Francisco could win a Super Bowl this year with Matt Ryan. I know there's a lot of people probably think that's tongue-in-cheek and a joke. They probably could. Steven says, did anybody see Malik Cunningham play? Yeah, I did. Again, like a man against boys. I know he was playing against scrubs, but that dude looks dangerous, accuracy and elusive. How did he not get drafted? I checked his college plays, and he looked dangerous there too. Anyway, yeah, I saw him for the Patriots play, and I was saying to myself, ooh, and with Bill Belichick as well, ooh, you know how Bill likes to do. It would be interesting to see what they would do in that situation. It really would. Steven says, "Excuse the type of man. Come on, bro. Man, my whole life is typos. But I am not per. You probably, matter of fact, just to show you, I probably couldn't even tell it was a typo because I probably thought it was right." Don't worry about it, brother. Jonathan says, "Yes, sir. All right, my brother. Look for a DM from me once this season starts so we can get in here." Winston says, San Fran has the most complete roster in the league. Philly has a better O-line and interior defense. So that's my thing. Yeah, Amari Cooper. That was the other guy. And they hurried up and got rid of him. Amari Cooper. Thank you, Winston. Yeah. So the Dallas hype train goes on. 30 years running. Facebook user says, I have a feeling we're going to have a winning season this year. No offense, but I'm past that. If winning season is the bottom for me. I'm talking playoffs in what seed? I really am. I'm rebuking all non-winning seasons. We're going to have a winning season this year. It's just a matter of what's our rank going to be. And as I told you before, I think we're going to win the division. So it's just a matter of stack up the wins. JJ says they saying that about CeeDee Lamb now as well. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Every wide receiver that post Michael Irvin that goes into Dallas, they want them to be the next Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin was the next Drew Pearson, which to me, Drew Pearson, I know a lot of people didn't see Drew Pearson. I understand that Drew Pearson was the baddest cat ever. And all due respect to Michael Irvin, who was the truth too. But Drew Pearson, man, every pass Roger Staubach threw, And in turn, Danny White, it just seemed like he was always there, especially in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1981. But I digress. Ghost says, in my opinion, Ritter should play the first half against Cincinnati and Taylor should play the second half. Third game, I would play a quarter of Ritter, a quarter of Taylor, and second half in the third game of Woodside. I'm not sure, Ghost. I don't know. Because by the third game, because now we've cut it to 3 games, your third game has to be evaluate who's going to be the other. All right, you already have your 22 that your starters in offense and defense, probably your special teams, cool long snapper. So 24, you need to take every ounce of game 3 to figure that out. You don't have time for Ritter to. If Ritter is truly your quarterback and that's your number 1 guy, I agree with needing reps, but you can't play with that on the third game. Third game, guys will be fighting for jobs. And you don't need your starter in there with those guys. You need your starter in there like they'll have this week. Like week 3, you're not going to see Grady. You're not going to see Calais. You're not going to see AJ. You're not going to see any of those starting guys from the defense in game 3. I just really don't think that's what you do. Back when we had the 4 games, game 3 used to be the game that you see everybody. But you need that for evaluation. And remember, I know we got rid of Michael Walker today, and we'll get rid of 1 or 2 people here, but it's not like it used to be. Remember how they used to have it? Week 2, you had to cut down to 75. Week 3, 60. After week 3, your evaluation basically starts from 90 players, I guess in our case 89, down to the 53 guys, and probably evaluating who you want to bring back on your practice squad. So I kind of disagree with the second part. I agree with the Cincinnati part about the first half Ritter, second half Taylor. But I don't think you can do that. That's just my opinion, though. See, but what's going on, man? Say, hey, Unc, I know you got your doubts about Desmond, but I think he's going to be all right and adequate enough to win on a consistent basis, even if it takes 2 to 3 years. See, I've come around. I know you saw me a long time ago, and full disclosure, I've said back in March, pre-draft, when all the Lamar Jackson talk was going on, I was one of those guys that say, hey, why not? Let's gamble. Let's throw it out there. But I'm also one of the person that's not going to sit here and try to act like I was right and I was wrong. You built the team like you did. You filled in all the, not all the holes, but most of the holes that you needed. You brought a veteran presence in here. And you're saying, I'd rather build around Desmond than to put a superstar there and go basically with the same level of talent that I had that was 7-10 and 21 and 22. So I believe, more importantly, in Terry Fontenot's vision, and then I'm supporting Desmond Ritter as my quarterback because I do hear some things from him that will let me to believe that he can be that leader. More importantly, I've heard from the other veterans on the team, including Calais and Grady and AJ and folks that have said, hey, Desmond has kind of galvanized this team. So I believe that. My concern has never been that. It's never been up here. It's been, is he the guy? There are not a lot of NFL teams that go out and say, let me trust my third round pick quarterback at the most important position to lead my team. A lot of teams don't do that. Now, some teams it works out for. Most teams it doesn't. But I have come around. I must admit, I do believe he will have, with the help he has around him, just don't try to overdo. Stay within yourself. Stay within the game plan. And to your point, hopefully 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, we'll brush off and see that we have that diamond in the rough that we need for the team. Wink Dog says we will. I hear you. Shaman is San Francisco's downfall. Marquise Mark says Carr needs to play. Carr played today. Ritter needs to play. Oh yeah, he definitely needs to play. No doubt. JJ the Great said, "Oh, did you see that story about Kyle Shanahan saying he would have signed Phillip Rivers if they would have won the NFC Championship?" Oh, absolutely, and that would have been a brilliant move, and I think he would have done it, no doubt whatsoever. You play to win. He couldn't go in there with the brother who came in there in the third string. That brother couldn't throw a pass. Yeah, I would have got Phillip Rivers in a heartbeat. Shoot, if Tom Brady had officially retired, I would have got Tom Brady. Winston says teams were scared of Malik Cunningham after the Malik Willis scenario in Tennessee. That's fair. But being an undrafted free agent gives you probably a little more, I don't know. They drafted Malik pretty high I say pretty high. You know, they drafted him in the third round. He was after Ritter, right? So Pamela says, new team, new regime, new attitude. I could hear you. Absolutely. Larry said, I got 10 books over here. How many you got? I'm running Boston on them this year, Larry. We're gonna have to. I think we can mess around and run a Boston on them if we play our game right. Steven says the Commanders will win the NFC East. Watch. It won't shock me. I am not a believer in the New York Giants. I think the New York Brian Daboll. Let me tell you something. What he did to change Daniel Jones from that guy who was gambling to somebody that just played within the offense was great. I just don't think. I think the Giants snuck up on people last year. I don't think they're going to sneak up on folks this year. So I agree they're going to step back. That's a tall order for Washington to beat Philly, though. That's a tall one, Steve. That's a tall one. I hear you, but that's a tall one. Stay tuned. RJ ATL for life. Happy Sunday, Uncle Steve. Just now watching stream. Thank you, brother. Thank you for always joining in. And again, those of you who are just coming in, we appreciate you. We're going over what happened last Friday in the game against the Dolphins, and more importantly, looking forward. We're past that game now. What kind of time limit do you put on Ritter next week? Do you play him the first quarter? Do you play him the whole half? Do you play him a little bit into the third quarter, or do you just play one series and let him sit on the sidelines? What do y'all do? Bubblegum so Shanahan. Oh, that's what you meant. You saying Shanahan is San Francisco's downfall. You know, I understand here in Atlanta we have a affinity to beat up on Kyle, and with good reasons. I understand why. Kyle Shanahan has been in 3 NFC Championship games since he's left Atlanta. And no, he hasn't closed the deal. And I just think he's one of the top 5 coaches in the league. Yes, he's going to have to get over that hump and finally get through. But I don't know. I tend to look past it. I mean, he's not on our team anymore, so I'm not rooting for him. But I am going to respect that dude can coach. I mean, he can. Can we say the same thing about Mike Tomlin? He won 1, but Mike Tomlin has come short a lot too. And especially in the last few years, and you could argue he had more talent. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Millie says, do y'all think we see Pitts in game 2? It'll be interesting to see if we do see Pitts. Judging by Arthur Smith's dialogue, and you can just tell. Is Arthur Smith the most uncomfortable guy in press conferences when they're asking him questions about players and schemes and stuff? I think Arthur Smith, if he had a choice, he would not talk to anybody about anything because he doesn't want to come close to giving out information. So when you start talking about Kyle Pitts, I don't think he wants to say. And not that hiding it in a preseason game is going to make any difference, but I think he also doesn't want to worry people to say, yeah, we're still worried about the knee. Of course you're worried about the knee. But to answer your question, Billy, I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle didn't play. I would like to see him play. But if he does, he's probably going to be somebody that you're not going to see a lot of if he does play. Wink Dog Hood says, if Arthur Smith's game plan right and draw up these mismatches, the league will be caught by surprise. And that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for improvement with that game plan, Wink Dog, because you know as well as I do, there were a lot of moments last year that we left a lot on the field. We did. Billy says, I'm going to say it again, Bryce Young is food. You see how the Jets was getting after him? Watch what we do. I hope that comes to fruition, brother. I really do. Gats Boy, what's going on? To argue that question, isn't Carr, Young, Mayfield, and Trash still learning new offenses? Ritter is the only returning starter. I believe the starters will play like in game 2 and 3 more. I don't know. And like I said, different strokes for different folks. I think I would just like to see him maybe finish out that game, that half. Steven says Ritter should play 3 quarters, the first half of a first half, and I think the first half as a minimum. I don't think he'll play 3 full quarters. It wouldn't shock me, maybe, Steven, if they want to get him into the cycle of, let's finish the half, start off the first half with a series, and then get him out of there. That wouldn't shock me. Now, if he does that, you definitely not going to see him in game 3. I just don't think he's going to – I just don't see him playing game 3, but that's actually a good call. I wouldn't mind seeing him play a whole first half, go out there for a series in the third quarter, see what you got, and then get him out of there. Winston says Ritter should play no less than a quarter and a half Friday. That's pretty in between. JJ says the starters got to play the first quarter minimum. Gats Boy says, I believe the starting 22 is already set in stone. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, I'm trying to think. On defense, maybe – I'm assuming, the Okuda injury actually, kind of throws things up. Is it really a competition or more to see depth-wise who you're going with? Maybe that's what you're looking at on that other side. But, yeah, as far as, I don't see any battles. I don't. I know we were talking about the Bergeron and possibly Matt Hennessy. But with Matt being a little hobbled, it's going to be kind of hard to call that a competition as well. But that's the only thing I see that could be considered. So, yeah, that's probably a close call right there when you're talking about all of them are set. They probably are. Winston says, I doubt Pitts will play this preseason unless it's for a drive this Friday. Yeah, maybe one. Kiki says, Woodside wasn't bad. I was mad when Ali, oh, my God, dropped that beauty. Yeah, that was a masterpiece of a pass he threw from him. But I am ready to see Dez because he needs the reps, but get him out by halftime. I can absolutely go with that game plan. Absolutely. Steven says Ritter has only played 4 genuine pro games. He needs the experience. Now, I'm one who is always going to harp on that as well, Steven, to say he absolutely needs the reps. But if he's going to be our starter, I don't think you're going to see a lot of starters. You might see the C.J. Strouds, the Anthony Richardsons, and the Bryce Youngs in game 3 because they've never played any NFL ball. I just don't see Ritter playing in game 3, though. That's the only thing I disagree with. You're not saying that, but you're right about he needs experience. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to come in game 3. I like the plan you were talking about, possibly going into the third quarter. I'm just not sure about him playing in the third game. Francis, what's going on? Say, hey, Uncle Steve, I think we should play Ritter the first and second quarter. A lot of people are saying that. That's awesome. All Star says, I told a Pampers fan week 1 we were making rice cream after last night. Oh, man. Y'all are crazy. Ghost Pepper says, the Atlanta Falcons, under the leadership of Arthur Smith, lost games in 2021 and 22 due to starters not being prepared for game day speed and physicality. That's part of history. It's out there. Yeah, and you know, that's fair. Now, if you're saying, so I want to make sure I'm getting it right, Ghost. If you're saying that, you know, being prepared means playing your starters in game 3, or are you just saying in general? Because you're right. In general, we did lose games by the starters not being prepared. Here's the caveat I'll throw to that on you today, Ghost. Ghost, would you agree that we have upgraded the majority of our starting positions with players who have played on a higher level, and especially on the defensive side, which is the side we've all talked about, the side we've all been concerned about? We have absolutely improved that. So I agree with you to a certain extent. If you're talking about that meaning play game 3, I'll stop short of that, at least. Winston says one more game like that and Xavier Malone will lock up that wide receiver 5 spot. Breon Borders may knock Darren Hall off the roster. Yeah, I know. Borders had a nice game. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Love the show. Listen, as far as that's concerned, too, we have gone 2 hours. I thought we were going to stop at 6 o'clock, and we went a little bit over. But listen, I thank everyone for joining us. Please, on your way out, please, again, hit the like button. If you like what you saw, I appreciate all the chat. I appreciate all the good info, the questions, the concert questions, the questions about the Atlanta Falcons. Thank you. And again, this is what it's going to be about going into the season. Just keeping this energy up, keeping this livelihood up, because this year the team is going to need us more than ever. I think this is one of those years that I want to see the dome look as the Benz look as heavy as it did last night for Beyonce, as heavy as it did a couple of months ago for Taylor Swift. I want that to be the standard for the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And if you get efforts like you keep getting on Friday, then those results are going to come. They will. It's your Uncle Steve. Thank you for joining us on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Again, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Those of you on Atlanta Bird Facebook, Atlanta Bird Gang and Facebook, I will always be streaming pre-game, post-games in the group. Those of you who have a chance, please go to Uncle Steve's Lounge, subscribe to the channel, appreciate the chat. Everyone have a blessed Sunday. We will holler at you guys later on in the week. Y'all take care. Peace.